"Can you move to the back, sweetie? These seats are too grown up for you." The words sliced through the air, and 10-year-old Stella froze beside her twin sister, clutching the boarding pass their father had bought with pride. Passengers watched, some amused, some indifferent, as the flight attendant smiled her condescending smile. Behind her, a wealthy couple murmured, "Can't you people just cooperate?" What no one realized was that these children weren't ordinary passengers, they were national science champions, and their father wasn't just any parent. One trembling call from Stella would shatter the illusion of authority in that cabin and end more than one career before wheels left the ground. How did two brilliant 10-year-old girls traveling completely alone without their parents, armed with nothing but truth and a phone call, expose an empire of airline racism? How did a discriminatory demand to switch seats trigger a federal investigation that got an entire crew fired, exposed years of systematic bias, and changed corporate policy forever? What did investigators discover that shocked even the airline's top executives? This story will make your blood boil with righteous anger and your heart soar with hope. This is about two children who refused to accept injustice, two sisters who stood firm when adults tried to diminish them, two young voices that sparked a revolution. This is the story of Stella and Ella Thompson, and this is what happened when courage met discrimination at 30,000 FT. Welcome back to Black and Bruised Stories. If you're new here, you've just joined a community dedicated to truth, justice, and survival. Show some love by clicking the like and subscribe button. Before we dive deeper into this story, drop a comment where you are watching from and what time it is for you right now. Let me take you back to where this extraordinary story begins, because you need to understand exactly who these girls are before you can appreciate the courage they displayed. Picture Gate 47 at a major airport on a busy Thursday afternoon. The terminal buzzes with the usual chaos, travelers rushing past, dragging suitcases, families juggling snacks and entertainment for restless children, business travelers glued to laptops and phones, gate agents making boarding announcements that echo through the corridor. Among this sea of hurried adults, two young girls stand out. Not because they're loud or demanding attention, but because of something remarkable radiating from them. A combination of excitement, nervousness, and unmistakable intelligence. Meet Stella and Ella Thompson, identical 10-year-old twins embarking on their very first solo flight. And when I say identical, I mean mirror images of each other in almost every physical way. Beautiful dark brown skin that glows with the health and vitality of youth. Intricate braids decorated with purple and gold beads that click softly with every excited movement of their heads. Intelligent eyes that absorb everything around them, missing absolutely nothing. They're wearing matching purple outfits that their mother carefully selected a visual representation of their unbreakable bond. Around their necks hangs something that sets them apart from every other child in this terminal. Gold medals from the National Youth Science Competition. Not participation medals, not honorable mention. First-place champions. But here's what makes Stella and Ella truly extraordinary. What elevates them beyond typical talented children. While most kids their age are consumed with video games, social media challenges, and the latest trending songs, these twins invented something that could change the world. They designed and built a revolutionary water purification device specifically engineered to bring clean drinking water to underserved communities across America. Think about that for a moment, 10 years old. And they're solving problems that impact thousands of lives. Their invention uses a sophisticated combination of multi-stage filtration and UV treatment to remove contaminants from water sources that would otherwise make people sick. They tested dozens of prototypes, failed, repeatedly learned from each failure, and persisted until they created something that actually works, something affordable, something that could be manufactured and distributed to communities that desperately need it. Major news outlets featured their story. Environmental organizations called them trailblazers. University professors invited them to present at academic conferences. Tech investors started paying serious attention. Yet despite all this recognition, These girls remained humble, grounded, focused on their mission rather than their fame. Now let me introduce you to their contrasting but complementary personalities, because understanding who they are individually helps you understand their collective strength. Stella is the bold one, the fearless trailblazer who speaks first and thinks second. She's the sister who sees injustice and immediately calls it out, who questions authority when authority is wrong, who defends her sister with fierce protective energy. When teachers ask questions in class, Stella's hand shoots up first. When bullies target vulnerable kids, Stella intervenes. She's confidence personified, sometimes bordering on reckless, always acting from a place of justice and fairness. Ella is her perfect complement. Where Stella is fire, Ella is water. Quieter, more thoughtful, processing everything deeply before she speaks. But don't mistake quiet for weak. Ella possesses wisdom that seems impossible for someone so young. She notices things others miss. She reads people's body language, catches inconsistencies in their stories, understands motivations beneath surface actions. She's the strategic thinker who plans 3 moves ahead while Stella charges forward. Together, they're unstoppable. But right now in this terminal, they're just 2 nervous and excited girls about to have an adventure, because today marks a milestone in their young lives, their first flight without their parents. Let me explain how 2 10-year-olds ended up traveling alone across state lines. Their father, Dr. Rick Thompson, is a renowned environmental engineer and university professor. At 38, he's accomplished more than most people achieve in entire careers. He works with the United Nations on global water access initiatives, advising governments on sustainable infrastructure designing systems that bring clean water to communities that haven't had reliable access for generations. Right now, he's in New York City at an international conference on water sustainability, presenting research that's attracting attention from policymakers worldwide. He couldn't travel home to get his daughters because his presentation schedule wouldn't allow it. But here's the opportunity he arranged. Major investors interested in funding the twins' water purification device want to meet them in person. These aren't just any investors. These are people who could provide the capital to manufacture and distribute the device on a massive scale, potentially bringing clean water to tens of thousands of people. This meeting could change everything for the twins' invention and for the communities it could serve. The original plan involved their mother accompanying them on the flight. Dr. Maya Thompson, 36, serves as a hospital administrator and healthcare executive. She's brilliant in her own right, managing complex medical systems, overseeing staff making decisions that impact patient care across multiple facilities. She was supposed to take time off work to fly with her daughters to New York. But then came a crisis, a critical hospital emergency that required her direct involvement. The kind of situation where lives literally hang in the balance, where her expertise and leadership could mean the difference between successful resolution and catastrophe. She couldn't leave, she couldn't delegate, she had to stay. So the parents faced a decision. Cancel the trip and potentially miss this once-in-a-lifetime investment opportunity, or trust their daughters to fly alone. They chose trust. And here's why that decision makes sense when you understand this family. Dr. Rick and Dr. Maya Thompson didn't raise their daughters to be helpless or dependent. They raised warriors. They raised girls who understand their worth, who know their rights, who've been taught to stand up for themselves with dignity and courage. From the time the twins could understand language, their parents taught them powerful lessons. Your voice matters. Your presence has value. Never accept being treated as less than human. Dignity is non-negotiable. If someone discriminates against you, speak up immediately. Call for help when you need it. Before this flight, their father had a specific conversation with them. I can almost hear his voice. Serious, but loving. If anyone treats you differently because of your skin color, you call me immediately. You have every right to be in those seats. You earn them. Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't belong. He gave them the tools to fight back if necessary. He just never imagined they'd need to use them. The airline has an unaccompanied minor program designed specifically for situations like this. Children traveling alone receive special attention supervision escort services from gate to gate. It's supposed to make solo travel safe and manageable for young passengers. The twins are mature beyond their years. Responsible organize their backpacks are perfectly packed with everything they might need. Tablets loaded with books and educational apps, phone chargers, snacks, water bottles, emergency contact information programmed into their phones. They're wearing their competition medals proudly. Physical proof of their accomplishments. And the first-class seats, that's their father's gift, a celebration of their science competition victory. A way to make their first solo flight special, memorable, luxurious. He wanted them to experience being valued, being treated with respect and dignity, being celebrated for their achievements. He upgraded their tickets from economy to first class. Seats 2A and 2B, the absolute best positions on the entire aircraft. Premium leather seats that recline completely flat. Personal entertainment screens loaded with hundreds of movies. Gourmet meals served on real dishes. Warm cookies baked fresh on board. The full first-class experience. This represents more than comfort. It represents validation. It says you deserve this. Your accomplishments matter. The world should treat you like the exceptional young women you are. Now we're back at Gate 47, and the twins are being escorted by the airline's unaccompanied minor coordinator. She's a kind woman in her 50s wearing the airline's uniform with a special badge identifying her role. She explains the process to the girls, answering their questions with patience and warmth. She gives them special lanyards to wear around their necks, identifying them as unaccompanied minors, signaling to all airline staff that these children require extra attention and care. The twins clutch their first-class boarding passes like precious documents because that's exactly what they are. Proof of their worth, evidence of their achievements, tickets to an adventure. Their excitement is palpable, radiating off them in waves. First time flying without parents. First time experiencing first class. First time feeling truly independent and grown up. They're bouncing slightly on their toes, unable to contain their energy, asking the coordinator questions about the aircraft, about the flight path, about what to expect. Then comes a moment that will feel prophetic later, though the twins don't recognize its significance yet. An elderly black man in a maintenance uniform is working nearby, emptying trash bins and wiping down surfaces. His name is Mr. Patterson, and he's worked at this airport for 30 years. He's seen thousands of travelers, witnessed countless stories, observed human nature in all its forms. He notices the twins. Something about them catches his attention. Maybe it's their matching outfits. Maybe their competition medals. Maybe the unaccompanied minor lanyards. Maybe just the joy and intelligence radiating from their young faces. He approaches them gently, respectfully. His voice is warm, grandfatherly, flying all by yourselves. You two must be very special young ladies. The twins respond eagerly, their excitement overflowing. They explain about the science competition, about their water purification invention, about meeting their father in New York, about the investors who want to fund their device. Mr. Patterson listens with genuine interest, asking thoughtful questions, clearly impressed. Then he says something that carries more weight than the twins can understand in this moment. Hold your heads high up there, young queens. You earn those seats. Don't let nobody make you feel like you don't belong. His eyes carry knowledge that comes from decades of experience. He's seen what these girls are about to face. He's witnessed discrimination play out in airports more times than he can count. He recognizes the setup being arranged nearby, even if the twins don't see it yet. They thank him politely, warmly, not understanding that he just gave them a blessing and a warning wrapped together. Because while this heartwarming interaction unfolds, something else is happening about 20 FT away at the gate counter. Something that will collide with the twin story in the worst possible way. A white man in his 50s is arguing loudly with a gate agent. Everything about him screams wealth and entitlement. Expensive tailored suit that probably costs more than most people make in a month. Rolex watch catching the terminal lights. Voice pitched to carry, demanding that everyone within earshot hear his importance and his displeasure. This is Richard Morrison, and he's having what he considers a crisis. He booked first-class tickets for his family, but apparently only secured 2 seats instead of 3. Now he's berating this young gate agent like she personally offended him by not bending reality to suit his expectations. The gate agent, probably in her 20s, tries to explain politely that the flight is completely sold out. Every first-class seat is occupied. There's literally no inventory available to accommodate his request. Richard's response drips with privilege and expectation. "I'm Platinum Elite with this airline. I've been flying with you for 20 years. Surely you can figure something out. You always do for people like me, people like him." The phrase hangs there loaded with meaning. People with money, people with status, people accustomed to having rules bent for their convenience. White people who've never been told no. Behind Richard stand his family members. His wife, Patricia, designer clothes, coordinating perfectly highlighted hairstyle to expensive perfection that practiced a look of superiority worn like armor. Their teenage son, Brandon, expensive headphones blocking out the world, scrolling through his phone with that particular boredom only privileged teenagers can achieve. The gate agent continues apologizing, explaining that her hands are tied by the booking system, that she genuinely cannot create seats that don't exist. Richard is dismissive, clearly expecting that persistence will break through her resistance. He's probably used to getting his way through sheer force of entitlement. He's probably never encountered a situation where his status didn't override other people's needs. Stella notices this interaction. Her sharp mind, always attuned to justice and fairness, picks up on something wrong about how this man is treating the agent. She leans close to Ella, whispering, "Why is he so mean to her? She's just doing her job." Ella nods, both sisters instinctively uncomfortable with the entitlement on display. Neither twin realizes they just witnessed the setup for what's about to become the most traumatic and transformative experience of their young lives. The seeds of conflict have been planted. Wealthy, entitled white family demanding 3 first-class seats. They don't have 2 accomplished black girls traveling alone with seats they rightfully purchased and absolutely deserve. An airline system about to reveal its bias. A confrontation that will expose everything wrong with how privilege and discrimination operate in American society. The boarding announcement crackles through the gate area speakers. We now invite our first-class passengers and those requiring extra time to begin boarding. The coordinator escorts the twins to the aircraft entrance, walking them down the jetway. Before they board, both girls pull out their phones to send final texts to their parents. Stella types boarding now. "Love you. See you soon, Dad." Ella adds, "We'll call when we land. Love you, Mom." The responses come quickly, nearly simultaneously. Their mother, "So proud of you both. Remember everything we taught you. Call if you need anything. Love you so much." Their father, "My brilliant girls enjoy first class. You earned every bit of it. Can't wait to see you and hear all about the flight." The twins pocket their phones, take deep breaths, and step onto the aircraft. Independent, excited, responsible, having absolutely no idea what's waiting for them. They have no idea that in less than an hour, Stella will be making a phone call that triggers an investigation that ends multiple careers, that exposes systematic discrimination hiding in plain sight for years, that makes national headlines, that changes airline policy forever. Right now, they're just 2 young girls embarking on an adventure, trusting that the world will treat them fairly, believing that their achievements and character will shield them from prejudice. That innocence is about to be shattered. If you're already feeling invested in these brave girls and want to see justice served, hit that subscribe button right now, because what happens next will shock you. Before we continue, I need to ask you, have you or your children ever been discriminated against while traveling? Have you witnessed racism in airports or on planes? Drop your experience in the comments, because your stories matter. The moment Stella and Ella step through that aircraft door, everything changes. And I need you to pay close attention to the subtle shifts, the microaggressions, the clear differential treatment, because this is how discrimination often operates, not with burning crosses and overt slurs, but with skepticism, dismissiveness, lowered expectations based solely on skin color. Standing at the entrance to first class is flight attendant Sandra. Mid-40s blonde hair pulled back in a severe bun so tight it looks painful. Standard airline uniform pressed to sharp creases, name tag polished to perfection, and a smile that's pure performance art. Watch her greet the passengers ahead of the twins. A white couple in their 60s carrying expensive luggage, wearing cruise casual outfits that scream comfortable retirement income. Sandra's smile is warm, genuine, reaching all the way to her eyes. Good afternoon. Welcome aboard. First time flying to New York. Oh, visiting grandchildren. How wonderful. Let me help you with that carry-on. Your seats are right up here. Enjoy your flight. Her voice has that practiced hospitality tone that makes passengers feel valued, welcomed, important. Now watch what happens when the twins approach. The coordinator hands them over. These are Stella and Ella Thompson, unaccompanied minors traveling to meet their father in New York. Sandra's smile doesn't disappear completely, but it transforms. It becomes plastic hollow, the warmth evaporating like water on hot pavement. Her eyes do this quick scan up and down, taking in their matching purple outfits, their braided hair, their dark skin, their young faces, and something shifts in her expression. Subtle but unmistakable if you know what to look for. Skepticism, suspicion, that look that evaluates and finds you lacking based on nothing but appearance. The twins hand over their boarding passes, excited smiles on their faces, completely unaware of the judgment being leveled against them. Sandra takes the passes, check them. Once pauses, check them again, more slowly. Her eyebrows raise slightly like she's confused or disbelieving. She looks at the passes, then at the twins, then back at the passes. Finally, she speaks and listens to the tone carefully. You girls are flying alone in first class. The emphasis isn't neutral. It's dripping with skepticism. The subtext screaming beneath those words, are you sure you're supposed to be here? Did someone make a mistake? How did you end up in seats clearly meant for other people? Stella responds with confidence that comes from being raised by parents who taught her to own her worth. Yes, ma'am. We're meeting our father in New York. Sandra's expression shows she's not satisfied with this answer, and these are actually your seats. 2A and 2B. Ella adds, trying to provide context that might explain their presence in a space Sandra clearly doesn't think they belong. Yes, ma'am. Our dad upgraded us to first class to celebrate our science competition win. Sandra's face shows disbelief barely concealed, like she's waiting for them to admit this is all a misunderstanding, that they've somehow made a mistake or gotten confused. She reluctantly steps aside, gesturing toward their row with significantly less warmth than she showed previous passengers. But she doesn't stop watching them. Her eyes follow them down the aisle with suspicious scrutiny. The twins reach their seats, and their joy momentarily overrides the uncomfortable interaction they just experienced, because these seats are everything they imagined and more. Seats 2A and 2B right at the very front of first class, the most premium location on the entire aircraft. The seats are upholstered in buttery soft leather that feels like sitting on clouds. The personal entertainment screens are huge, at least twice the size of those in economy. The space around them is generous, luxurious, nothing like the cramped quarters they're used to. Stella takes the window seat, immediately pressing her face to the glass to watch ground crews working around the aircraft. Ella settles in beside her, already exploring the entertainment system, overwhelmed by hundreds of movie and show options. Their joy is pure, innocent, well-earned. They worked hard for this moment. They deserve this celebration. They're experiencing something special that most children never get to enjoy. But even in their excitement, they notice Sandra's continued glances. The flight attendant keeps looking their way, her expression carrying judgment. They're too young to fully understand, but old enough to sense. Then another flight attendant appears, and the contrast is immediately apparent. His name is James, probably late 20s. Genuine kindness radiating from his entire demeanor. He immediately notices the gold medals hanging around the twins' necks. "Who are those science competition medals?" he asks, with authentic interest, crouching down to their level to make eye contact rather than talking down to them. "What did you two invent?" The twins light up like fireworks. Finally, someone asking about their accomplishments rather than questioning their presence. They start explaining their water purification device, talking over each other in their excitement, describing the filtration stages and UV treatment and field testing, and the communities their invention could serve. James listens with complete attention, asking follow-up questions that show he's genuinely interested, not just making polite conversation. That's absolutely incredible. And you're flying alone to meet investors. Stella nods enthusiastically. "Meeting our dad first, then investors tomorrow." James's face shows authentic admiration. "Your parents must be so proud. You two are amazing. Future engineers right here changing the world." He brings them warm chocolate chip cookies fresh from the galley, making them feel valued, seen, respected, celebrated. This moment matters. Remember this interaction because James just showed them what they deserve. Recognition of their accomplishments, respect for their intelligence, validation of their worth. What's about to happen will be even more painful and wrong. By contrast, more passengers board filing pass toward their seats further back in the cabin. First class fills up. The energy shifts from pre-boarding calm to that anticipatory buzz of imminent departure. Then Richard Morrison boards with his family, and you can feel the energy change again. Different from the pleasant anticipation of travel, this is entitlement personified, stepping into a space it considers its rightful domain. Richard scans the first-class cabin with proprietary eyes like he's surveying property he owns rather than seats he purchased. His wife Patricia follows a designer handbag swinging from her arm, that practiced superiority etched into her features. Their son Brandon trails behind. Expensive headphones blocking out the world, completely detached from everything happening around him. They locate their seats 4A and 4B, just 2 seats, not the 3 they need to sit together. Richard's face immediately registers displeasure, not disappointed, not a mild inconvenience, pure displeasure. Like the universe has personally offended him by not rearranging reality to suit his expectations. He doesn't sit down, doesn't even pretend to consider accepting the situation. Instead, he immediately signals Sandra, snapping his fingers like he's summoning a servant. Sandra hurries over, and they begin this hushed but audible conversation at the front of first class. But here's the thing about whispered conversations on aircraft. The acoustics betray you. Sound carries in strange ways. Passengers nearby can hear fragments, and those fragments tell the whole story. Richard's voice carries deliberately pitched, loud enough for those nearby to hear his importance. "I'm Platinum Elite with this airline. I've been loyal for 20 years. I spend significant money flying with you. My son needs to sit with us." Patricia adds her voice-manufactured concern, dripping from every word. "Brandon gets severe anxiety when he's separated from us. It's practically a medical necessity that we sit together." Medical necessity. Those words do heavy lifting to justify entitlement. Sandra nods sympathetically, making understanding noises. But watch where her eyes keep drifting. Again and again, her gaze returns to the twins. Those 2 young black faces in premium seats. You can almost see the calculations happening in her prejudiced mind, formulating a plan. More whispered conversation. Sandra nodded, Richard gesturing, Patricia clutching her designer bag like she's the victim in some terrible injustice. Stella notices this. Because Stella notices everything. Her sharp mind is always picking up on dynamics that many adults would miss. She leans toward Ella, whispering urgently, "Why does she keep looking at us?" Ella follows her sister's gaze, sees Sandra's repeated glances, sees the conspiratorial whispers between the flight attendant and the white family. Worry crosses her young face. I don't know, but I don't like it. Something feels wrong. They're alone. No parent to protect them. No adult advocate sitting beside them ready to intervene. Just two 10-year-old girls sensing danger, but not yet understanding its full scope. Other passengers continue boarding, filing past, and filling the cabin to capacity. The tension builds. The twins feel increasingly uncomfortable, their initial excitement fading into anxiety. Then Sandra finishes her conversation with Richard, nods one final time, like they've reached some agreement, and turns toward the Thompson twins. She pastes that hollow professional smile back on her face and walks down the aisle with deliberate steps. She stops directly beside the twins' seats. The smile doesn't reach her eyes, and she speaks to them not as fellow passengers with equal rights, not as accomplished young scientists deserving respect, but as children who need to be managed, controlled, and convinced to comply. Girls, I have a small favor to ask. Her voice is sugary sweet, sickeningly polite, the tone adults use when they're about to ask children to do something the children won't want to do. Stella looks up polite but wary. Yes. Sandra's hands clasp together in that fake gesture of humility. There's a family on board who really needs to sit together, and I was hoping you sweet girls could help us out and be accommodating. She explains like she's offering them an exciting opportunity rather than demanding they surrender their rightfully purchased seats. Would you be willing to move to some other wonderful seats so this family can sit together? We have 3 excellent seats available in premium economy rows, 12 and 13. Still very comfortable, great service. You'll hardly notice the difference. The words land like a slap. The twins immediately understand what's being asked of them, even if they don't yet comprehend the full scope of discrimination at play. Ella's voice carries confusion and hurt. But these are our seats. Sandra's response reveals everything wrong with her thinking. I know, sweetie, but these seats might be a little too grown up for you anyway. First class is really designed for business travelers. Premium economy is where most children sit, where you'd be more comfortable with people your own age. Listen to the insult veiled as concern. She's suggesting that children, particularly these black children, don't belong in first class. That there's a natural order where premium spaces are reserved for certain people, and these girls aren't among them. Stella finds her courage channeling everything her parents taught her about standing up for herself. Our father bought us these seats. We won the national science competition. This trip is our reward for excellence. Sandra's patience is already thinning, her dismissiveness becoming obvious. That's very nice, dear. Congratulations on your little competition. But right now, adults are dealing with an important situation, and I need you girls to be good and cooperative. She just dismissed their national championship as a little competition. She just told them that adults need to override their rights. She just suggested that being good means accepting discrimination quietly. Ella, quieter but no less powerful, makes an observation that cuts through all the false politeness. You didn't ask any other passengers to move their seats. This stops Sandra for a beat. This observant child just called out the selective nature of her request. Just highlighted that 2 young black girls are being singled out when plenty of other passengers could be asked to relocate. Sandra's tone sharpens, her mask cracking. I'm asking your family to be reasonable and cooperative. Young ladies now, I really need you to work with me here. Stella's voice is firm despite the fear coursing through her body. We're not moving. These are our assigned seats. Our dad paid for them. Sandra's mask cracks further, authority and frustration bleeding through. Young ladies, I don't think you fully understand how airplanes work or the authority cabin crew have regarding passenger seating arrangements. Richard's voice booms from behind them, inserting himself into a conversation that has nothing to do with him. Is there some kind of problem up here? I thought we had this resolved. Sandra turns slightly, her voice carrying that coded message. Just working through a small situation, sir. I'm sure these young ladies will see reason. Richard stands moving forward, literally looming over two frightened children. Look, I already told you I'm willing to compensate whoever moves. I'll pay for their ticket upgrades myself. This really shouldn't be complicated. It's a simple business transaction. He's talking about children. He's reducing human beings, accomplished young scientists, to commodities that can be bought, relocated, dismissed based on financial transactions. Patricia joins in. And here's where the quiet part gets said devastatingly loud. For heaven's sake, they're just children. Surely they can sit anywhere. Why are you people making this so difficult, you people? Those two words detonate in that pressurized cabin like an explosive device. They hang in the recycled aircraft air. Impossible to unhear, impossible to misinterpret. You people said about two 10-year-old girls, children traveling alone, scientists, champions, human beings. The twins have never been called you people before. They've been sheltered by loving parents, educated in diverse environments, protected from the harshest expressions of racism. Until this moment, hurt and confusion flash across their young faces. Ella's eyes fill with tears. She's desperately trying to hold back. Stella's jaw clenches. Protective anger rising alongside fear. A white woman sitting in seat 3C, who's been watching this entire interaction with increasing discomfort, finally speaks up, her conscience activated. Maybe everyone should just remain in their originally assigned seats. That seems like the fairest solution. Sandra whips around her false professionalism, completely abandoned now. Thank you for your input, but I am handling this situation. Please remain seated. James, the kind flight attendant who brought the twins cookies, approaches with concern written all over his face. Sandra, maybe we should discuss some alternative solutions. Sandra cuts him off with barely controlled anger. I've got this under control, James. Please attend to the other passengers and let me do my job. James hesitates, clearly uncomfortable, but he's junior staff, and Sandra outranks him. He steps back, though his eyes stay on the situation, witnessing everything, his face showing he knows this is wrong. Sandra turns back to the twins, and now the weapon of authority comes out fully exposed. Girls, if you don't cooperate with crew member instructions, that's a serious violation of federal aviation regulations. Do you understand how serious that is? The threat is barely veiled. Comply with this discrimination or face consequences. Removal from the aircraft. Possibly intervention from security. Definitely humiliation. Your special trip was ruined. Your father is disappointed. Trouble that follows you home. Two 10-year-old girls alone being threatened by adult authority figures for the crime of sitting in seats they rightfully purchased. And absolutely deserve. Ella's tears are flowing now, her voice breaking. We didn't do anything wrong. Why are you being mean to us? Stella wraps a protective arm around her sister, and in that moment something shifts inside her. Fear is still there, absolutely, but also anger. Righteous anger, the kind that comes from recognizing injustice and refusing to accept it. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out her phone with trembling but determined hands. Sandra sees this, her controls slipping further into desperation. You cannot make phone calls. We are preparing for departure. Put that phone away immediately. But Stella doesn't stop. Her fingers shaking with fear and courage combined begin to dial. If you're feeling the injustice of what these children are experiencing and want to see what happens when courage fights back against discrimination, smash that subscribe button now. This story is about to take a turn that will restore your faith in justice. Let me ask you, if you witnessed this happening on a flight, would you have spoken up like the woman in 3C, or would you have stayed silent? Be honest in the comments below, because this question matters. Stella is dialing now, her fingers moving with purpose despite the trembling. Every instinct in her young body is screaming that she's about to get in serious trouble. Adults are telling her to stop. Authority figures are threatening consequences. But she's also hearing her father's voice in her head. If anyone treats you differently because of your skin color, call me immediately. Sandra's voice rises, authority crumbling into desperation. Put that phone away this instant, or there will be serious consequences, young lady. But Stella doesn't stop. She presses the call button switches to the speaker so Ella can hear too. The phone rings once, twice, and the entire front section of first class has gone completely silent. Other passengers are fully invested now, leaning forward, some pulling out their own phones, everyone sensing something significant is happening. The call connects. Their father's voice comes through warm and loving, completely unaware of what's happening. "Hey, my brilliant girls, is everything okay? How's the flight?" And Stella's voice, which has been so strong and defiant until this moment, finally cracks with emotion. "Dad, they're trying to make us give up our seats." The change in their father's tone is instantaneous and shocking. Warmth evaporates. Steel replaces it. Dr. Rick Thompson transforms in a single second from loving father to protective warrior. "Who is trying to make you move? What's happening?" Sandra's face is wreathing. Anger and embarrassment wearing for control. Young lady, end that call right now. But Stella's voice strengthens, finding power in her father's support. The flight attendant, Sandra. She says, "We have to move to economy so a white family can sit together in first class." Through the phone, speaker amplified for everyone in first class to hear. Dr. Rick Thompson's voice cuts through like a surgical blade. "Put her on the phone right now." Stella extends the phone towards Sandra with that innocent courage only children possess. "My dad wants to talk to you." Sandra refuses, still desperately clinging to her false authority. "I don't take orders from children. This is completely inappropriate." But the father's voice comes through the speaker again, and this time there's no mistaking the steel in it. "This is Dr. Rick Thompson. I'm speaking to the flight attendant who just attempted to remove my daughters from seats I purchased. Identify yourself immediately." Sandra takes the phone with shaking hands, her confidence visibly crumbling. She tries to maintain her professional tone. "Sir, this is a crew decision about optimizing passenger comfort." Dr. Thompson interrupts, and his words are precise, calculated, devastating. "My daughters are unaccompanied minors traveling under your airline's care program. They have assigned first-class seats that I specifically purchased and upgraded for them. On what legal grounds are you attempting to forcibly relocate them?" Sandra stammers. "Sir, a family has special circumstances that require." "So do my daughters," he cuts in. "They're 10 years old. They're flying alone for the first time. They are in seats I specifically selected for their comfort and safety. Are you seriously suggesting that their needs as vulnerable, unaccompanied minors matter less than an adult family's preference to sit together?" The cabin is completely silent now. Every single passenger in first class is listening to this conversation. Several have their phones out recording. The woman in 3C is capturing everything. Richard Morrison calls out from behind, still trying to assert his importance. "I'm Platinum Elite. I have significant status with this airline. My loyalty should count for something." Dr. Thompson's response cuts through Richard's bluster like a knife through butter. "My daughters have a constitutional right not to be discriminated against based on their race. Your frequent flyer status doesn't override the 14th Amendment. Your preference for seating arrangements doesn't supersede federal anti-discrimination law." Then comes the power play that changes everything. Now let me be very clear, and I want everyone on that aircraft to hear this. I'm recording this conversation for legal documentation. I'm an environmental engineer, but I also serve as an expert witness in federal discrimination cases. I've testified in court dozens of times. I know exactly what constitutes illegal discrimination. Sandra's face has gone from red to pale white. "I'm giving you one opportunity to clarify your position." Dr. Thompson continues, his voice clinical now, like he's documenting evidence for a legal proceeding. "Are you, as a flight attendant and representative of this airline, refusing to allow my minor daughters to remain in their assigned and purchased seats, yes or no?" Sandra realizes the trap she's walked into. If she says yes, she's admitting to discrimination on a recorded line with dozens of witnesses. If she says no, she has to let the girls stay. "Sir, I was simply trying to accommodate a passenger request. Yes or no," he repeats. "Are my daughters being removed from seats 2A and 2B?" Her voice is barely audible. No, sir. Then this conversation is over. My daughters will remain in their assigned seats. They will not be harassed further. They will not be threatened. They will not be made to feel unwelcome. If you or any other crew member has any further issues with two unaccompanied minor children sitting in seats their father purchased for them, you will call airport security, and I will be on the next available flight to New York, where I will file formal complaints in person with both airline management and the FAA. Do you understand me? Sandra's defeat? Yes, sir. Dr. Thompson's voice softens now, speaking directly to his daughters. Stella, Ella, you did exactly right. I am so incredibly proud of you both. You stood up for yourselves with courage and dignity. You stay in those seats. Don't move for anyone. Do you understand me? The twins, tearful but relieved, chorus together. Yes, Dad. I'm calling the airline's corporate office right now to file a formal complaint. He tells them, keep your phone on. Text me every 30 minutes so I know you're okay. I love you both more than anything in this world. We love you too, Dad, they whisper. The Collins, the twins, sit holding each other, shaking with adrenaline and relief and lingering fear. The cabin remains silent for a long moment, passengers processing what they just witnessed. Sandra stands, frozen phone still in her hand, her career ending in real time. Though she doesn't fully grasp it yet. She walks mechanically to Richard Morrison, her voice hollow. I apologize, Mr. Morrison, but I cannot accommodate your seating request at this time. Richard's face turns crimson with rage. This is absolutely absurd. Two children without parents are being prioritized over loyal paying customers. This is discrimination against us. The older black man in seat 5A, who's probably witnessed this exact dynamic play out more times than he can count, lets out a bitter laugh that carries through the cabin. The irony of you calling this discrimination is truly something. You hear that everyone, now he knows what discrimination feels like. Welcome to our world, friend. Not so pleasant is it, nervous laughter ripples through the cabin. Several passengers nod in agreement. The absurdity of Richard claiming discrimination while literally trying to remove black children from their seats is too blatant to ignore. Patricia grabs her designer handbag with dramatic flair. We are not staying on this aircraft. Brandon, get your belongings immediately. We will not be treated like this. Richard turns to Sandra with venom in his voice. I want to speak with your supervisor immediately and the captain. This will be escalated to the highest levels of this company. You can count on that. As if summoned by the chaos, the cockpit door opens and Captain Rodriguez emerges. He's distinguished, looking probably in his 50s, with that particular bearing that comes from decades of military and aviation experience. His uniform is immaculate, his expression already hardening as he quickly assesses the situation. He has a brief, hushed conversation with Sandra near the galley, but passengers close enough can see his jaw tightening with each word she says. Can see his expression shift from neutral to deeply troubled. He approaches the twins and does something that shows his character. He kneels down to their eye level, speaking to them as the children they are rather than talking down to them. Young ladies, I'm Captain Rodriguez. I apologize deeply for what just happened to you. That should never have occurred on my aircraft. You will not be moved. You are safe now. Do you understand? Stella's voice is small, all her earlier courage depleted by the trauma. Yes, sir. Thank you. Captain Rodriguez stands and addresses the entire cabin with unmistakable authority. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a brief delay while we resolve a passenger issue. I apologize for the inconvenience and thank you for your patience and understanding. The Morrison family deplanes, Patricia's voice echoing down the jetway in fragments. Lawsuit, viral video, corporate headquarters, unacceptable treatment. Their voices fade, leaving behind a cabin full of witnesses and two traumatized children. The twins sit alone now, no parent there to hold them, processing what just happened. Ella is crying softly, trying to muffle the sound. Stella wraps both arms around her sister, being brave for both of them, even though her own hands won't stop shaking. Stella, I'm so scared, Ella whispers. Did we do something bad? Are we in trouble? Stella channels their father's words. "No," Dad said. "We did exactly right. We stood up for ourselves. That's what we're supposed to do." But her voice wavers because she's also 10 years old, also frightened, also processing trauma that will take years to fully understand. James returns his face, showing genuine distress at what the girls experienced. He brings warm blankets, wrapping them around both twins gently. "You two were so brave, so incredibly brave. I'm proud of you, and I'm sorry you had to go through that." The white woman from 3C approaches, kneeling in the aisle beside their seats. I recorded the entire incident on my phone. Everything, including the "you people" comment and all the threats. If you or your parents need witnesses for any complaints or legal action, here's my contact information. She writes her name, phone number, and email on a piece of paper, pressing it carefully into Stella's hand. Other passengers begin offering quiet support. Thumbs up from the businessman across the aisle. A kind smile from an elderly couple. Murmured words of encouragement from the woman behind them. But despite these affirmations, despite the support, the mood remains heavy with trauma. Because the twins just learned something no child should have to learn at 10 years old. They learned that even when you've achieved excellence, even when you've earned your place, even when you've done everything right, there will still be people who look at your skin color and decide you don't belong. They learned that discrimination is real, that racism isn't just history they study in school, that their parents' warnings weren't paranoia, but preparation. Sandra stands isolated in the galley area, visibly shaken, refusing to make eye contact with anyone. She knows her career just ended. She's probably running through the conversation in her head, understanding exactly how badly she destroyed her own life with racist assumptions and discriminatory actions. The aircraft finally pushes back from the gate. The engines spool up with their familiar whine. The plane begins taxiing toward the runway. But for Stella and Ella Thompson, this is no longer an adventure. It's no longer a celebration. It's become a trauma they'll carry with them. A lesson learned in the cruelest possible way. The joy has been completely stolen from their first solo flight. Subscribe right now if you believe these children deserve justice, because what happens next in the investigation will shock even you. The story is far from over. Here's my question. How do you think airlines should handle situations where crew members discriminate against passengers? What policies would actually prevent this? Share your thoughts in the comments. The aircraft climbs into the sky, leaving the ground behind, but the twins can't escape what just happened. They sit close together, Ella's head resting on Stella's shoulder, both girls staring at nothing. They try to engage with the first-class experience their father gifted them. The entertainment screens play movies they're not watching. The flight attendants bring gourmet meals they barely touch. The leather seats that seemed so exciting an hour ago now just feel like reminders of everything that went wrong. Stella pulls out her phone, texts her father as promised. "We're okay. Scared, but okay. Everyone is being nice to us now." His response comes immediately. "I'm so proud of both of you. Already filed a formal complaint with the airline. I'm meeting you at the gate with airport security. You're safe now. I love you." Ella's voice breaks the silence between them, and the question she asks is heartbreaking in its innocence. "Why did she treat us like that, Stella?" "We didn't do anything wrong." Stella tries to explain something she doesn't fully understand herself, because she's racist, because she thought we didn't belong in first class just because of how we look. "But we won the competition." Ella protests, tears streaming down her face. "We earned these seats. We're good people." I know Stella whispers, her own composure finally cracking. "That's why we didn't move. That's why we called Dad. They're having conversations that 10-year-olds shouldn't have to have. They're learning about discrimination, about racism, about how the world sees them in ways their parents tried to shield them from for as long as possible." James checks on them frequently throughout the flight, bringing extra snacks, making sure they're comfortable, trying his best to restore some sense of safety. But he can't undo the trauma. He can't give back their innocence. Sandra never appears in first class again for the entire flight. She's presumably hiding in the galley, or serving passengers in economy unable to face what she's done. About halfway through the flight, Captain Rodriguez makes an announcement that surprises everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a moment to recognize the young ladies in seats 2A and 2B. They showed tremendous courage today in standing up for themselves against injustice. Their parents should be extraordinarily proud. I know I am. Scattered applause ripples through the cabin. The airline announces sweeping changes. Mandatory anti-bias training for all employees without exception. New protocols specifically for handling unaccompanied minors of color. An independent oversight board for discrimination complaints so they can't be buried by regional managers. Substantial settlement for the twins, including full refund, unlimited future travel, and public apology. After the call, Dr. Thompson asks his daughters, "How do you feel?" Stella responds honestly, "Good that she got fired, but I'm still scared it could happen again." Ella adds, "Will it always be like this? Will people always treat us differently?" Their father's answer is painfully honest. "I can't promise discrimination won't happen again, but I can promise we'll always fight back. Boys, your voices matter. Your worth is not negotiable." 1 month later back home, the twin story has gone viral. National headlines scream, "10-year-olds traveling alone expose airline discrimination." Interview requests flood in from major networks. The family carefully selects one interview with a local station. The twins sit between both parents, now their mother having joined them. The reporter asks, "What went through your minds when you were asked to move?" Stella: "I was really scared because we were alone without our parents, but I remembered what Dad taught us about standing up for ourselves." Ella: "I thought we did something wrong at first. Now I understand we didn't. She was wrong." Their father: "My daughters showed more courage than most adults ever will, but they shouldn't have had to. No child should face discrimination." The reporter: "What would you say to other children who face discrimination?" The twins answer together, their message rehearsed, but genuine. Tell a trusted adult, use your voice. Don't stay silent. Your voice matters. The story amplifies their water purification project beyond anything they imagined. The device goes into full production. Within months, it's bringing clean water to thousands of people. At a school assembly, the principal introduces them. These remarkable young ladies showed our entire community what courage and dignity look like. After the presentation, a young black girl approaches Shilly, maybe 7 years old. "My mom says you're heroes, that you saved other kids from being treated badly." Stella kneels to her level. "You're a hero too. Just remember your voice matters just as much as anyone else's. Don't ever let anyone make you feel small." That evening, the family receives news. The airline is creating the Thompson Twin Scholarship for young black scientists with a $5 million endowment funding 10 students annually. Their mother tears, streaming, "I'm sorry I wasn't there to protect you. Stella, you taught us how to protect ourselves." Late that night in their bedroom, the twins work on their next invention. Awards and news clippings cover the walls alongside photos of family. Stella: "I'm glad we made things better for other people." Ella: "Me too, but I wish we didn't have to go through that." Stella: "I know, but we did it together." They fist bump and return to their work. These two young girls who changed airline policy and inspired thousands already planning how to make the world better. The screen fades to final messages. The Thompson twins' water purification device has brought clean water to over 5,000 people. The Thompson Twin Scholarship has funded 47 young black scientists. Airline discrimination complaints decreased 73% after new protocols. Stella and Ella Thompson, now 13, continue inventing and advocating for justice. Discrimination persists when good people stay silent. Courage starts with standing firm in your worth. Even children can change the world. Speak up. Stand tall. Make a difference. If this story moved you, if it reminded you why voices matter, and courage changes systems, subscribe right now and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Final question. After hearing Stella and Ella's story, what will you do differently the next time you witness discrimination? Will you speak up or stay silent? Your answer matters. Drop it in the comments below.